Hello and welcome to Drive and Double Feature Podcast. I'm Nathan.
I'm Ryan.
And this is the podcast where we talk about 2 movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But before we get into this very special week, I want to talk to you about our Patreon. Over at patreon.com/Drive and Double Feature Podcast. We have tons of bonus episodes where we judge each other's movie tastes. We do mean quizzes to each other. We talk about bad movies. We do it all over there, and you get to hear it just for $5 a month, and that helps support the show. But no main content is locked behind Patreon. But getting into this week, we have a special double feature this week. We're doing anime movies. We're back at it again with anime. We just love anime here, right, Ryan?
Just a couple of weebs.
Yeah, might as well just call this Drive and Double Feature Weebcast. I don't know.
That's right. I mean, we've done what? I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 maybe.
Six. But I mean, it's always something that's interested me is like anime movies from like the 80s and 90s, because there are some weird movies out there that I think are underseen.
And some that shouldn't be seen.
Yeah, we have talked about one specifically that should probably never be seen. But I think we do have 2 for you this week that I think I am happy to talk about on the show.
And we'll see.
Well, starting with today's movie, we are doing the movie Memories, which is an anime anthology movie. So this is our first anthology movie on the podcast, and it's 3 different sci-fi stories, all made off of the creator of Akira's short stories that he made, Katsuhiro Otomo. It's based off of his stories, but he actually got 2 other directors to direct 2 of the stories here. All of them are anime, but all of them are surprisingly different, honestly. There's a lot of different stuff going on here, and not a lot ties them together other than maybe they're like a sci-fi story.
That's what I was wondering. I'm like, what is, because I thought like memories, like the tone, like the theme would be like memories, because actually the first story does have a lot to do with memories.
A lot, yeah.
So I'm like, okay, is it going to be this type of stuff? But then the other 2 are just very, very different from the first movie. So I was like, is there some type of underlying theme here I'm missing?
Yeah, and I did some reading around, and no, it was literally they just wanted to pick 3 of his stories to make it. The director calls it more of an omnibus than an actual, like, because anthology movies is generally a theme tying everything together. But no, yeah, from this, and I was surprised as you were, because you finished the first story and you're like, okay, wow, that was about memories. Got it. We're gonna have other ones about memories. No, not really.
Not at all.
Yeah, but since this is an anthology movie, before we kind of connect them, maybe we'll rank them at the end. But let's just break them down one by one. So our first story in this is Magnetic Rose. This one's directed by Koji Morimoto, who kind of has done like a lot of different anime things. Nothing that I really pulled out that was notable, but the notable person here is it's written by Satoshi Kon, who made Perfect Blue, Millennium Actress, and Paprika, which are like highly important anime movies, like some of the ones that people consider like the best.
Which is funny because I've seen Paprika and I've seen Millennium Actress, and both of those have a lot to do with memories and like being in like other type of, or like otherworldly type of worlds. So now that you say that, I like, oh, okay, that makes perfect sense actually.
Yeah, because I've only seen Paprika, but it definitely fits exactly into the tone of that movie. I could definitely see that it's the same person working here. And honestly, I think this is the standout story of the bunch. This one is, I thought it was really cool. I thought the story was insane. There is a lot going on here.
Honestly, this movie is this particular part is just, it's such a standout from the other 2, and I hate to spoil so right away, but I mean it's that good. And honestly, the worst part about it is that it's a short film. I'm like, they easily could have made this into a feature-length movie.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I would watch an hour, 30 minutes or longer of this plot, because this plot is neat. And I mean, unfortunately, I don't know if you feel this way with the most anthology movies, but like it's never fully like every one of them is a standout amazing experience. There's always some that are better than others, some that are weaker links, and then this one, I feel like this story coming up front and just being so good, it makes the other two almost pale in comparison. And I don't think I dislike them, but this one's just that good. Like this is like wow, close to a masterpiece almost.
That it reminds me a lot of the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, the Coen Brothers anthology Western series, and I really liked the first one and that one like the most too, which is the title character Buster Scruggs. But again, that's only about like 15 minutes maybe, and I'm like, oh, that was so funny, like that was so entertaining, I can't wait. And then after that, it's either like these punchline ones or super depressing.
Yeah, no, I had the exact same experience. It's like, oh, you could have easily tried to make that like the whole movie, because the rest of these just aren't as good. Like I mean, we'll go on the Buster Scruggs one day, who knows. But no, I agree, Buster Scruggs is a good example of this.
But no, you're right though. I mean, I was so hooked into this one because it's about these astronauts out in outer space, and they get a beacon or like a distress signal to go to check out this one ship. And then when they go into this one ship where it's two of the crewmates, Miguel and Hines, go in there, and they find that it's actually a giant mansion on the inside. And that's immediately right away you're like, oh wow, like what is this, like, because they get you right away.
Yeah, and I'll say like the animation here is gorgeous. It's it's the same dude as the guy who made Akira, so very detailed, like a lot of details in the background, because this is a destroyed ship, right? So there's like pieces and parts just like floating around, and then once you get inside to the mansion, how like just everything is set up, and it looks gorgeous. It's a gorgeous looking movie.
Yeah, it's nice though, because the two crewmates in there, because there are two other like shipmates that are on the ship, and they're kind of monitoring these two's action, but don't really get a feel for those characters, to be honest. But
not as much, no.
But the other two make up for it, because you have Miguel, like I said, who is a lot more of a carefree, like, I guess, womanizer, doesn't take anything too seriously. And then you have Hines, who's like super serious, stoic man that's like total family man type. So
yeah,
and really this he's like the main star of it, because Miguel kind of disappears halfway through this.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he's the one that kind of takes the whole mission, and like it gets out of hand, and they want to go find him, because it's almost, this one is kind of like a horror movie, like it's like sci-fi horror. It reminded me a lot of like Alien and
Event Horizon.
Event Horizon is a good one too. Yeah. What it is they go into the mansion, you kind of discover this mystery, and it's just kind of creepy because it's empty. There's holograms everywhere, and there's this woman that there's a lot of pictures of, and they'll look out in the distance, and there's this woman just running through the hologram. And slowly over the whole movie, they learn about this woman, and then her memories or her kind of like story melds into their past in a really freaky way. And there's like a tone in this one that's just like creepy. Things are dripping, there's like flying dolls everywhere, and it's not cheesy either. It actually is a creepy story.
Yeah, it's the tone for this one is great. It's a lot of like real gothic type of imagery inside of a creepy mansion, and you start learning, start peeling back the layers, because it's this ghost supposedly of this dead opera singer who had a past lover, and that the lover died in a mysterious way. And then like Miguel kind of like it gets under her spell, and then Hines is kind of haunted by the memories of like his family, because he'll see like a real like happy memory of like his family at the dinner table, and then all of a sudden he'll just wake up and there's these horrific statues that he and he just
Yeah.
and he freaks out and just blasts the statues.
Yeah, he just like shoots him with the guns. It's actually really horrifying because he like relives like a memory of his daughter falling off of the roof whenever, he was doing something on the roof and she fell off and died. And he has to witness that multiple times as this opera singer is just like watching him, and it's just like, like, you can come live with me. And it's imagery like that. It's just really dark. Where it's sci-fi is like the opera singer, I guess, her whole life is like in the computer, and it's the computer in the ship that's causing all of this to happen around them.
Yeah, because Hines does shoot the opera singer, and it's revealed that it's like a robot, sort of, and
Yeah.
it's a robot that's being controlled by the ship's AI, which is infused with this dead opera singer's memories, and he even comes to the conclusion that she was actually like a real murderous type of opera singer that she was the one that killed her own lover. Spoilers. It was really good because like she had Miguel under his spell, and Miguel started like believing like he was the dead lover.
Mm-hmm.
And you start seeing like little imagery of her and like Miguel kissing like on like these portraits, even that because he's like, huh, like what, like
just I love the Miguel story. I love Miguel as a character. There's that one scene earlier in it where he drinks all the fake wine and eats the fake food, and he just instantly spits it out.
Well, yeah, because they're on this mansion, and you don't know right away what type of atmosphere it is, and he's just like, let me just take my helmet off and let me drink this wine, and then it just turns out to be like literal trash that he's drinking.
But it is an anime, so I do have to talk about the soundtrack. I feel like that's part of it. This one's all done with an opera score. It's beautiful. It sounds really nice. It fits the whole tone of everything going on. In the end, it gets really loud because the ending's devastating. It's really solid.
Yeah, like you said, the opera singer tries to get him under her spell, and he doesn't fall for it, but there's like a magnetic field surrounding their ship that's outside, and it ends up the whole mansion ends up getting swallowed up and swallows up the spaceship too, and Hines is kind of jettisoned out into space, and he's just kind of like left floating in space at the end of the end of this segment.
But what I think is a nice touch is he does smile in the end, like kind of like it's all over kind of deal.
And it's a rose.
And it is a rose.
It looks like it's a magenta rose.
Yes, a magenta rose. But yeah, I mean, I guess to wrap up like this story, I do think this movie is worth watching just to see this one. I think this one is worth the price of like admission. If you're not seeing this in the theater, it's worth watching just for this plot. I think it's great.
Go to your local theater and ask if you can charge admission to this movie.
Can I pay you to watch this on my TV at home?
No, it is definitely worth watching. We'll get into the other two to let you know about those, but yeah. I mean, just this part alone is enough to like, it's like I said, it's only about 20 to 30 minutes. It's a very easy watch. It is definitely worth watching.
Yeah, for sure. But let's move on. Moving on into the second movie. This one is called Stink Bomb, and it's made by Tensai Okamura, who long time working anime. Like looking at his filmography, absolutely insane. He worked on Akira. He worked on Ghost in the Shell, and he continues to work to this day. One of the things that he directed that I know of is Soul Eater. He directed Soul Eater, and I've never seen Soul Eater. I don't know if it's similar or not.
The TV show?
Yeah, the TV show, yeah.
I mean, I've seen all of Soul Eater, and I don't think I would classify that as that. Soul Eater, it's like a lot more. It's like it's a ghost show, so it's like where these it's more similar to like Naruto and like in like the other world. So
yeah, well, that's interesting. He also directed one of the recent Naruto movies, one from like 2019 or something. But yeah, but this is
he's used to stinkers then.
I guess so, because this is a stinky one, but because the guy stinks, this one's the lighter one. I was not expecting a comedy short after what we had just witnessed at the beginning.
And this one's called Stink Bomb, and that's funny because that's what I called you after I went to the bathroom after you that one time.
You called me that?
No.
I'm sorry, okay? I had to go.
I'm joking. I've never used the bathroom after Nathan, but
I wouldn't recommend it.
No, I was not expecting a comedy, and the only thing I'll say is that I already kind of called the punchline, like.
Of course, yeah, me too.
Because I was like, all right, because I'll go ahead and say, like, oh, he's just going to end up like showing up to the base anyway, and everyone's going to be, oh my god, and just but no, it's like a guy, he's really sick, and he's trying to get over this really bad cold. So they're like, oh well, why don't you take these pills these blue pills that are in this red bottle, and like an idiot, he takes the red pills in the blue bottle.
Yeah, what a dummy. And then that makes him stink, and he stinks so bad that he kills people. It is just like the SpongeBob episode where they have bad breath.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, he goes around and he like almost destroys like everybody's life. It's I actually kind of like this. I think at first I was a little like, okay, this is weird coming after the first one. But I think after it all, it was funny. It was light. I had a good time with it.
Yeah, this one, it did take a minute too. But I did like, because in the first half of it, I mean, it's not really very comedic. And the first half is kind of very like pandemic type of killer movie, because he wakes up from a nap and all of a sudden like everybody in the office is just dead, and then he's just like, what happened? And and the government's like, oh, you got to take these secret pills to this base here, and then they realize halfway through that, oh no, he's the person that's been killing everybody.
Exactly, yeah, because I like the setup for it too, because everybody smells it differently, and like the people in the office, like there's one lady's like, yeah, something smells bad, and the other person's like, no, it smells great, it smells like perfume, but it ends up killing them. But yeah, it's pretty much the government's dumb, and they're like, hey, come here, we can't lose this. This is a very secret thing, it can't get out, we got to keep the live specimen. But on his trip to Tokyo, he just creates a stronger and stronger stink cloud. It's literally a green cloud that's just killing people along the way. But yeah,
yeah, you're right. It's just like a cartoon where it's just like he has this big stink cloud just like surrounding him.
But it improves nature. One of the funnier parts is everybody's dead, and he's one of the last people below, and a helicopter flies by, and he like waves them down. It's a news crew, and they go in to rescue him. They get close to him, and they just literally drop dead. People just like one sniff, and they just fall. They fall down. It's so silly.
I like it too, because at one point he hops on a motorcycle, and and then the army comes to the realization that he was the one causing the smell. So like, all right, now we got to kill him, and they can't even like fly a helicopter above him because they're like, oh, the stench is so strong, even from up here my eyes are watering.
Yeah, and I guess what makes it funny is this guy is a doofus. Our main character is a doofus. This whole time he does not realize what's going on, and he's kind of on a quest just to go, just get this thing over with and get a meal. And he's just like, everybody he runs to either dies or runs away from him.
And he doesn't realize that people are like, even though people are dying right in front of him, he doesn't come to the realization like, like, it must be me. No, he never thinks this at all. He's just like, people are just dying for no reason.
Even at one point, they get the idea to murder him, and they get fighter jets to shoot missiles at him, and they're blowing up the road as he's driving his motorcycle. And he's just like, I wonder what happened there. Why were they shooting at me? This is so weird.
And even that by the end of that, he's like, man, this whole thing is such a pain. Like, it's just like if you had to like go do an errand that you didn't want to do or something like that. That's with about as much enthusiasm.
Yeah, no, it's funny, and like you said, like it has that punchline that we all expect, that he kills everybody. But I actually thought it was funny the way it was delivered, because it comes in with a spacesuit and it keeps his stink in, and you think, like, in my head, I really did for a second. I was like, okay, he's gonna have to live the rest of his life in this spacesuit. That's just the way it is. But no, he just goes, how do I get out of this thing so I can thank you guys? And he hits the eject button on it and he kills everybody. I gave away the punchline, but it's funny.
So like before that, the one thing I thought was a little weird was that, so towards like the big climax of the movie is that they finally do get him cornered in a tunnel. And because the Americans in this movie like actually want him to be alive so that way they can use him as like a weapon. But so these Americans go in there with these huge giant spaceman hazmat suits, and they said one thing is that the strongness of his stench is controlled by his emotions.
Yeah.
So when he gets cornered by these guys, he starts going crazy, and then all of a sudden you just see this big flash of light and this huge giant stink cloud just like shoot out at once.
Yeah.
And when it all clears, you actually see like, I think all three spacemen just like standing there by a coffin or whatever, like waving. And they're like,
that's right, yeah.
And they're like, oh, they got him, good. And so I mean, at that point, like I kind of figured, what was going to happen. But then I'm like, so wait, did he just knock them all out and he just jumped in one of the spacesuits or what?
I don't know. They didn't explain that very well. So I don't have an answer for you.
Because it wasn't like it was just one spaceman staying there. If it was just one, then it would make sense.
Yeah, that's right. 3 did show up. It made it sound like in the end, like they captured him and put him in a spacesuit. But I don't know. They didn't really go into that. It kind of rushes to the finish line in a way.
Why didn't somebody just take the other pills, and that way they could just deal with that stench too? They could just be stinky together.
Yeah, everybody in the planet takes stinky pills, and then everybody gets to just live a stinky life.
Yeah, just nobody's ever allowed to leave that country ever again.
Yeah. This one's fine. I think this one was fun. But do you want to move into the final story of the bunch?
Sure.
All right. So to end it all is the one directed by the chief director of all of this, Katsuhiro Otomo, the director of Akira, with Cannon Fodder. And Cannon Fodder it's set during, it's like this really hardcore war.
It's like a steampunk era.
Yeah, steampunk era, where all this planet thinks about is war and bombing other people.
The whole town is centered around cannons, like, and they just fire random cannons. Everyone's job is related to cannons. Even the school kids go to school learning about how to shoot a cannon.
Yeah, it's definitely like, what if like World War II like happened and all we thought about was war for the rest of the time, and that's all we cared about. And the main thing that's jarring with this one is the art, because the first two look very similarly. They have this art style of Akira. It looks very similar to that. This is very different. This is like something completely different. It's almost like paper cutout. Like things are very layered. It has a very interesting look. If there's one thing I did like about it, I think I like that this one changed its look.
Yeah, it looks good. I on its own though, I think it's almost too jarring, where I was just like, oh, you see all this beautiful imagery, and like, because all these characters too are real ugly looking.
Yes,
too. Yeah. So it's very much just like, they have these very ghoulish type of faces, and like their faces are like green or red or whatever. So it doesn't look like hand-drawn, like beautiful hand-drawn pictures like the other two movies did.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel that. And Cannon Fodder, unfortunately, I will have to say, I don't know if it was the same for you, but I think this is my least favorite of the bunch. I wasn't really into it.
No, I mean, it's not bad, but
no, it's not bad.
But it's not very interesting in my opinion. And
yeah, I got a little tired of it. There really isn't a big through plot. It's like a father is at a cannon factory. He kind of gets freaked out by the cannons, and then his son is just loves cannons and wants to be like a leader of the military. That's about all you get out of this.
Yeah, I mean the whole. I mean, I guess it's supposed to be just like this big symbolic type of metaphor where like the whole town is literally surrounded by war. Because I mean, there are certain things where like they talk about, oh, we have to go fight the enemy city, and we're firing these cannons at this enemy city, but they never say who they're going after or what they're doing. They just say that they like, oh yeah, we made a direct hit, and
so you don't even know if they exist at all.
Well, yeah, because even at the towards the end, his son goes up to his dad and he's like, Dad, who are we fighting in this for? And he's like, you'll understand when you get older.
Yeah. Very depressing. Especially after the dad, who seemed to have like the worst day on the job because they forced him he's not wearing safety gear when they launch off the cannons. I think the biggest thing for me was this one really focused on very slow moving things. Like I want to say them shooting a cannon was about 4 to 5 minutes of me watching them set up this cannon. And I was like, it looked cool at first, but I'm tired of this by now.
I was over it. And I mean, especially the last two that actually has a beginning, a middle, and an end, where it's like very tight stories. This one, it's like you said, it's very kind of aimless in my opinion. It doesn't there really isn't like, oh, we have to get from point A to point B. It's just kind of like, here's the city, or it's not even I guess it's supposed to be slice of life type of thing, but it's even the characters itself, it's not like I'm invested in these characters or like what they're doing or anything, because I don't even think we even know what their names are. So
no, I don't remember them at least.
And they don't talk very much either. And but I guess the punchline at the end, or like the big thing at the end, is that you don't really know who they're fighting, but then at the end, like the little boy goes to sleep, and then all of a sudden these big sirens go off and these searchlights go off. So I was like, maybe there, was there really an enemy type of thing? Maybe there was.
Yeah, I thought the same thing, but I hate to be this kind of watcher and ask for something like this. I wanted more. I needed like more to that. I don't know, but I get that's the director's choice to kind of leave it hanging like that. But in this instance, I guess I would have liked a better explanation of this world, like kind of like delve into it a little bit more. I don't know.
I agree. I really wasn't feeling it by the end, and I was just like, it was fine. As a short, it's not like it's really long or anything like that. And there was some interesting animation. There was a neat sequence where this little boy's drawings came to life, and it was interesting to kind of see like these child drawings coming to life.
Oh yeah, that was really cool.
But again, it's not enough to say it's above the other two. And I mean, based off of that ranking, it's pretty much for me in the order that it was played, 1, 2, 3. So
yeah, exactly. No, the same thing. It seemed like we both agreed on that order. First one's the best, second's good, and then the third one to me at least, it was fine. So I guess put that all together, I think you have a pretty good movie with a really strong start and maybe kind of a weaker ending. But would I recommend it? Yeah, I would say check it out. It's a really interesting movie.
Yeah, I give it a recommend. Like I said, I mean, even if you watch just the first two, which is about a little over an hour, I mean, it's perfect right there. I mean, you could stop right there and it's still worth watching.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree. I think that would be a double feature.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't even want to watch that, at least go out of your way to watch the first part.
Oh yeah, if you can find the first part, and this is playing on Tubi and Amazon Prime, and you only want to watch one thing out of this, watch that. It's about 30 minutes long.
About 30 minutes, total easy watch. You can get it done right away. It's worth watching.
Yeah, it made me go, oh, I need to watch more of the writer's work, because it was really good. So
yeah.
But I think that wraps it up for Memories. So Ryan, I hope you remember, what are we covering?
I forgot.
We'll wing it.
All right, we're gonna do Lupin the Third, The Castle of Cagliostro, and unfortunately that is not streaming anywhere at this time. You're gonna have to rent it or pay for it.
If you have any thoughts or opinions on this week's episode, or if you have any recommendations, send us an email over at driveindoublefeaturepodcast@gmail.com. Also, you can tweet at us at DIDFpod. But until next time.
Until next time.